It's time for Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Go ahead. Send your apologies to me here at Wretched Radio.
I'm sorry?
I'll wait. That's right. This is Wretched Radio. For those of you who mocked me for being a bit of a germaphobe, using the wet wipes on counters, germ killer on the hands, go ahead. Just send your apologies now. I'm waiting. Wow.
I'm sorry you're a germaphobe?
I'll accept that. That's as much as I could anticipate, frankly. The world seems to be in a bit of a panic over coronavirus. What is the Christian to do? Will I pontificate the health risks? No, I'm not a doctor. I don't even pretend to play one on radio. I'll leave that up to other people, but the government has determined it's a pandemic, and that raises some questions for Christians. How now do we live in light of the pandemic of the coronavirus? Questions like, do we cancel church? The governor of Kentucky suggesting churches should, In Seattle, in the county where there have been more deaths than any other county, out of the 11 deaths in the U.S. of A., 10 of them have taken place in King County out in Seattle. And so the PCUSA, a denomination that's going astray, the USA version of the Presbyterian Church, not America, USA, the leaders there are saying, hey, we should shut down churches, and they're going to on Sunday. Should Christians not assemble as we are commanded to do on Sunday mornings? I now would like to lay down the definitive Christian response. You don't need to go anywhere else. I'm just going to give you, here it is. This is the way we should all be living in light of coronavirus. Should we cancel church? What about communion? Do we shake one another's hands? Do we go to work at all? Here's the biblical answer. This is just going to settle it once and for all. Whatever. That's it. Whatever. Different Christians are going to have different takes on this subject, and I don't think we should be making a law where there isn't a law, perhaps, and we certainly shouldn't be shooting other Christians when we disagree on issues like this, which seems to be an increasing trend in the circular firing squad we call evangelical Christianity. I am seeing this more and more, and it's increasingly grievous. It seems there are no rules anymore about judging anybody for anything. You say two wrong words and rah! You say something that doesn't maybe just hit it exactly in the bullseye, and you're out of here, pal. What happened to a little bit of grace for our brothers and sisters who maybe don't take the exact position on a secondary, or in this case, maybe a tertiary issue? Yikes, we sure do whiff some chum in the water, and we are just all over it. Can't we do better than cable news? Nevertheless, there are some people who are already at war over issues about coronavirus. Should you cancel the church service? My answer is that's up to you. Would I, where I am sitting, do that? And the answer is no. Would I call somebody a sinner who didn't show up on Sunday because they had concerns? Absolutely not. There are people who maybe do have a compromised system. Maybe seniors who tend to be the people who suffer the most from this and experience more of the death from this. They're afraid and they don't want to go on Sunday morning. Could it be a sin? It might. It might just be prudent. It might just be wise. And I would not call somebody into church discipline because they didn't go to church for a couple of weeks. Nor would I mock somebody for wearing a mask. Nor would I say to somebody who's looking at the communion tray and going, yikes, how is that prepared? Maybe we should be wise about some of those things. Put on gloves, wear a mask if you're preparing the communion. Maybe just doing fist bumps might be the new holy kiss of the 21st century. Be wise about stuff. Make a decision for yourself, for your family, but let's not slaughter one another in the process. And to that end, this is going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. A quote from Martin Luther on the subject that I think will guide us through the subject of...
Sorry.
That was kind of like Snidely Whiplash, just waiting in the bushes. Martin Luther dealing with not just coronavirus, which seems to be a flu, like virus, was dealing with plagues. He was dealing with stuff. A much higher likelihood of taking you out. Here's what he said: "I shall ask God mercifully to protect us." I think we should too. Should we quote Psalm 91 as if that is our bibbity-bobbity-boo verse? No, we shouldn't, despite what a lot of false teacher hacks are doing these days. I'm looking at one of them right now. Here's his sermon series based on Psalm 91 with the coronavirus. It's titled, "Why No Virus Can Come Near You." Are you kidding me? And using Psalm 91... No arrows by day, nothing can assault you, says the psalm. Is that a perfect promise that the Christian will never get sick or catch a virus? No, it's absolutely not. It was a particular context by a particular author in a particular covenant. And furthermore, what do we see throughout the Bible? Good people get sick. Christians get ill. Paul had a thorn. Timothy dealt with stomach issues. Were they not understanding Psalm 91 rightly? No. What are the promises that Jesus gave us for the Christian life? Trials, tribulations, temptation. Paul said to Timothy, anybody who lives godly will be persecuted. There's no protection from that's a Bible verse that you say or speak or understand, and nothing bad is going to happen to you. Ask Job. God could be using these things to grow you, to prepare you for further ministry, and these hacks who make these ridiculous, outrageous claims. Frankly, this is like encouraging people to risky bad behavior. Martin Luther had a better handle on it. Oh, that hurt again. I shall ask God mercifully to protect us. Then I shall fumigate, help purify the air, administer medicine, and take it. There it is. You trust God, you act wisely. You don't let go, let God. You do wise things. You use wipies, for instance. You use the germ killer. You maybe don't hurt people at Costco in the process of trying to get it, but nevertheless, and by the way, maybe this virus thing is worse than I thought. Costco has stopped samples. Okay, that is, whoever thought something so dire could possibly happen. We act wisely. You don't walk down the street, and when you see somebody going, you don't run into the front of their face when they go, chew! Avoid it. Wear a mask if you'd like to. You do what you think that you need to do, knowing full well that if God is going to give you coronavirus, you're going to get it. You can lock yourself away in a germ-free room. An idea, in general, as a germaphobe, I find rather attractive. Nevertheless, you can be in that room in a sterile setting, and if God wants you to get SARS, swine flu, the bubonic plague, you're going to get it. You don't tempt God. You don't act foolishly. You don't use wrong Bible verses for silly promises that the Bible doesn't actually make, thinking that you're going to be protected because you listen to that dopey sermon on Psalm 91. We act wisely, trusting God, knowing God is sovereign. He's going to protect or he's going to give it to you one way or another. Luther went on. I shall avoid places and person where my presence is not needed in order to become contaminated and thus perchance infect and pollute others and so cause their death as a result of my negligence. So I want to do things that love my neighbor. So if I'm sick, maybe I want to stay away from people as a way to love my neighbor, not go to work. If God should wish to take me, he will surely find me, and I have done what he has expected of me, and so I am not responsible for either my own death or the death of others. If my neighbor needs me, however, I shall not avoid place or person, but will go freely. I think that is about as balanced an understanding of the situation as we could possibly have. Are there other things to say? I'll let other commentators talk about that. Is the government behind this? Is this a thing from the Democrats because of Trump? Answer, I don't know. If it is, I got to tell you, it's really wicked because people are losing money. They're not being able to go to work. Vacations that have been saved up, money will be wasted and spent. People are being hurt. They're not getting hired. If there is some sort of conspiracy behind this, wow, there's a lot of evil people who don't care much about loving their neighbors. We Christians, on the other hand, we will love our neighbors. We will be wise. We will do what we think is biblically best. And we will go about the business of trusting God, even as the world has a complete coronavirus meltdown. The definitive word? Whatever. This is Wretched Radio.